Hey everyone, welcome to 41 Strong Podcast. My name is Chuck Tate. Great to have you with us today. 41 Strong is a podcast that delivers encouraging scriptures and stories to help you hold on and stand strong. Well, today is episode 132, and my guest is a returning guest to 41 Strong. His name is Jason Persinger. He is a husband, father of 5 kids. He's also the senior pastor of Peoria First, right here in the Peoria area. He's also the varsity boys basketball coach of Peoria Christian High School. Jason, welcome back, dude.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, man. It's great to have you back. Last time you were here, you shared your story and how you ended up in Peoria, your testimony, and just great stuff. So you need to go back and rewatch that so you can get the backstory to Jason. But we're going to talk about the current story.
Sure.
Well, let's back up just a little bit. Last time you were on a show, you were celebrating a regional championship as the coach of the 7th grade boys at Peoria Christian.
Right.
All right. Then you inherited a struggling varsity boys basketball coach, and you are celebrating a regional championship with them. First regional championship for PCS varsity boys since 2011. Am I right?
Yeah, 2011, 2012. Yeah.
2011. Man, dude, great job.
Thanks so much.
I've enjoyed kind of watching from a distance, and of course, my kids are in the middle school. So last year, my daughter was a cheerleader. I was at all the games that you coached. My daughter's going into high school this fall, so I'll be at the varsity game, so I'm looking forward to seeing you in action. But I just want to say, seriously, from just watching, you've done an incredible job.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the Lord's been good to us, and I inherited a squad that didn't have a great record, but had a great foundation laid by my predecessor, Jay Brewer, and he played a lot of young guys, and that really helped us.
Good. And Jay's a friend of mine. I still got to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, laid that foundation, and then you built off that, and man, how was it? You're used to coaching on varsity boys, aren't you?
Yeah, all my experience was coaching high school basketball. So coaching middle school was the 7th grade boys. That was a little bit of a different animal, and jumping back into varsity was more of my comfort zone, and so really enjoyed that.
Good deal. Well, I noticed from following you on Twitter that one of the hashtags that you used all throughout the season was hashtag Core 4.
Yes.
Core 4. So what is the Core 4?
The Core 4 is our mantra. It's believe that there are 4 great things that make a great basketball player. Now, hear me when I say, Chuck, I'm sure there's more than 4. I haven't cornered the market.
I honestly thought it should be Core 4 you won.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe we'll get there. But believe it's some tools that we preach and teach inside of our program that we believe will help the kids on the courts, but also off the court, and not just as adolescents, but some things that we feel that they can take for the rest of their lives. And so the Core 4, the 4 attributes, and if you come to one of our high school games, on the back of our shooting shirts are the Core 4 listed. And so it's 4 things that we think are imperative. The first one is effort, and believe that I tell the guys often, hey, if you're going to step on the court, give it everything you got. When you wake up in the morning, give it everything you got. You got to give effort in life. Nothing is promised. Nothing is given away. Everything's got to be earned. And so we really strive, hey, if you get in a situation that you don't know what to do on the court, hey, try, give some effort there. And I believe that helps carry guys a long way. The second of the Core 4 is attitude. This is huge in our current culture, on and off the court. How you carry yourself, not just what you say, but your body language. In the game of basketball, want guys to have an attitude of gratitude, but also an aura of confidence, a quiet confidence. Not where you're talking trash, but you miss a shot, you don't put your head down. Have the attitude of a winner, the attitude that, hey, this is where you're supposed to be, the attitude that will lift the arms up of your teammates. The third one is aptitude. And in everything you want to do in life, if you don't have a game plan, you're going to struggle. Not planning is planning to fail. And so with aptitude, we want our guys to understand our game plan, study it, aptitude on and off the court, read the room, read the court, say those things a lot. Hey, when you walk into a situation, read it, see what's going on. And so I think that's a huge aspect that guys fall back on, aptitude, understanding what we're all about. And then the last one is trust. I think I tell the guys often, if you don't trust that I'm going to put you in the best situation, or you don't trust me, you probably shouldn't be on the team.
Yeah.
If you don't trust one another, you shouldn't be on the court. And so believe trust is hey, we get to decide who we align ourselves under, who we allow to influence us, and believe that we become what we worship over time. And so to align ourselves under people that we trust. And so that's what the core four is effort, attitude, aptitude, and trust. Those are the four building blocks of our program that we strive to get in young men on the court and off the court as well.
I love it. Yeah, those are life lessons, man.
Yeah.
So you can even use those in pastoring, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Use those in pastoring, use those in my own life and with my own son and my own family. And it's become who we are as individuals.
Good deal. So how important then is buy-in? Right. I mean, you're teaching and driving home the core four.
Yeah.
Over communication is so important when you're a leader, and I love the fact that you have it on the back of the practice jersey, so it's always in front of them. They always see it. At our church, all of our team leaders, every single weekend, we have a Saturday night service, 2 Sunday mornings. On Saturday night, before the service, each team leader gets with their team, and we do what we call VIP meetings, vision, instruction, and prayer, where we remind everybody what the vision of our church is, instruction for what they're doing that day, and then they close it out in prayer. And we do that every Saturday night, every Sunday morning, every team leader doing that with their team. So anyone who serves in any capacity at our church knows what our vision is. I can walk up and say, what's our vision? Right. And I'm sure that it's the same thing right here. Every single player has to buy in, and if you ask them what the core four is, they know it, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And if they don't know it, then there's consequences. Maybe laps, or I don't know.
Line sprints. Yeah, okay. Line sprints. Yeah, and I think, man, I can't overstate the simple truth that John Maxwell wrote years ago. We quote it all the time in leadership circles. People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. That has been the greatest leadership lesson that I've ever applied. And so with buy-in, with players on a team, with the church, like the guys got to authentically know that you care about them, that it's about more than just my win and loss record. And so there's consistent communication about these things in the off season as well. I texted a player yesterday, hey, you got to give great effort on that final tomorrow. It's very important. And checking in, talking to them about what's going on socially, talking to them about what's going on in their spiritual lives. That's a huge aspect. Yeah. And I think that's where the buy-in comes in, when people genuinely say, okay, I don't always agree with what Coach does. I don't like his game plan, but I know that guy cares about me. Yeah. And I think that makes a difference between guys buying in and guys just kind of, zoning out and creating issues.
Yeah, during the NCAA tournament, of course, Bradley, right here in Peoria, played Michigan State, an incredible game. And one moment in the game that really, that in the tournament that blew up was when Coach Izzo was yelling at one of his players.
Sure.
Right. Kind of went viral.
Right. Yeah.
On social media. Yeah. And a lot of people were upset with the intensity on his face. And I mean, but when it comes down to it, the one person that wasn't upset was the player.
Absolutely.
Because he knew how much Coach Izzo cared about them.
Sure.
You know, they already have a relationship. They understand each other, and he's the one person that didn't care. Because he knows.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, your coaching style is different.
Sure. Yeah.
I've never seen you lose your mind on one of your
Right.
outwardly
Right.
on one of the players. But I think that's so true. Like you said, this is a leadership life lesson right there.
Yeah.
That if someone knows that we care and they're on our team, then they're gonna buy in, even if they don't agree with you.
Yeah, and teaching, and I think the guys to put aside the outside voices. There's an old adage in coaching: if you listen to the people in the stands, pretty soon you'll be sitting up there with them. And teaching the guys that, hey, and parents are great, especially Peoria Christian. Got a great group of parents, but no parents, no casual observer, no other. They don't know what we're trying to do or what we've talked about, and so when the bullets start flying, guys knowing that, hey, when, like Izzo, like that guy cares about me, and that guy's going to have my back, not just now, but the rest of my life. And we live in a culture, Chuck, where everybody's so quick to throw stones, like not knowing that Coach Izzo has done tons and tons for young men throughout his career. And so I think that's a good example.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that just for a moment, because we know that when it comes to sports, parents, they can go crazy. So what role should a parent take when it comes to high school basketball?
Yeah, it's a loaded question. And I look at it because I'm a parent as well.
Yeah.
I look at it from my perspective.
And your boy can play. I mean,
He's much better than I was.
Man.
And so as a parent, I sit in the stands and watch my own children play, whether if it's basketball and soccer. And individuals will come to me, or if I'm watching another team play, 8th grader, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And as a parent, it's a Matthew 18. Go over there and talk to coach, And I think parents shouldn't assume. I think that most coaches love when players come and say, hey, not ask, hey, what do I got to do to get more playing time, or not, because that's ultimately selfish, right? Like, what do I got to do to make it more about me? Yeah. But what can I do to improve as a player? And I think our job as coaches is to come alongside of parents and reinstill some of the values they've already instilled in their children, and not prepare what's that old adage? Not prepare the path for the child, but prepare the child for the path. And I think it's good sometimes to be able to have tough conversations with parents. But I say this as well. I never try to meet with a parent without a player present, because in high school we're talking young men now.
Yeah.
And I think parents, another thing I would encourage parents to do is when you get in the car after the ball game, whether if it's good or bad, not to get too high and not to get too low. One of the things I always strive to tell my children is, I just love watching you play. Like, I really enjoy seeing you out there on the court. Not, hey, you were 9 for 10 or you were 2 for 20.
Yeah.
And so those are things that I think are important for parents. Be your child's biggest cheerleader, but also, like the core four says, trust the coach. Like you entrust your player, your son, to this program. And as a coach, that's a privilege. We don't take that lightly, but thankful at Peoria Christian we got some pretty good parents.
Yeah, some great parents. And I know that, my son, he's in middle school. He'll be in 6th grade next year. So he played 5th grade ball, his first, time on a real team in school. And, I had to really be intentional about, talking about the car ride home.
Yeah.
Not to coach him on the ride home, and not to tell him all the different ways that he could improve and what he could do better.
Right.
But to compliment what he did right, and to just talk about how much I enjoyed watching him play, and how, and just building him up. Not to say that we can't have those conversations.
Sure.
But those aren't the first conversations I have.
I think it's really good, Chuck. And I try to, I would encourage all parents to this. And I tell my assistant coaches as well, you lose a ball game, everybody plays bad, whatever it might be. Everybody's in a bad mood. Like, nobody's happy about that. There's going to be a time for correction. And I think it's reading the room and knowing your own child as well. Yeah. What does your child need at that moment? Is it an encouraging ear? Yeah. Is it Is it, hey, a stern talk? Whatever it might be, there's a time to coach up and to make improvements. And right after a game usually isn't the best time to do that.
Yeah. Well, you're a pastor and a coach. So the question that I want to ask you is, has pastoring helped shape you into a better coach, or has coaching helped make you a better pastor? Or is it a little bit of both?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It's synonymous in that there's so many leadership is leadership, right?
Yeah.
And so when you lead people, whether if it's ball players or if it's at the church, there's a goal, there's things you need to accomplish, there's vision. And I think those things they bleed in to one another, not getting too high, not getting too low. The great thing about basketball is at the end of the day, you know if you won or lost. At church sometimes you don't necessarily know. But the life of a church or seasons of a church are very similar to seasons in basketball. There's going to be some high points. There's going to be some low points. And coaching over the years has really helped me to not get too high as a leader and not get too low. Not let the wins go to the head and losses go to the heart type thing.
Yeah.
And so coaching's really helped me to do that in ministry, that, hey, it's not always going to be perfect. It's not going to go exactly the way we want. Might not always have the growth spiritually, financially, numerically that we want, or whatever that might be. But at the end of the day, we're on a process. We're on a journey.
Yeah.
And that's been really helpful for me to kind of parallel both of those.
Excellent, man. Well, who influences you?
Lot of good influences. I really have some mentors that I've had my entire life that I still talk with. Guys that nobody would probably know. Guys like Nate Ellerton and Brad Trask, and people that I've served under and mentored under off the court that have helped me. And a lot of times help comes from random places. 9 out of 10 times, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and so being willing to hear
I can relate.
Yeah. Some people don't like when I say that, like, hey, but it's true. And listening to a lot of influence. I love to read, and reading. There's a great book on coaching and leadership called "Lead for God's Sakes," and I think it's the most incredible book that I encourage all parents in our program to read. All my coaches read it. Okay. That really shows, hey, the importance of what we're trying to do is not just win the moment, win the game, win the Sunday, win this issue, but develop people for the long haul, the journey. When it's all said and done, nobody's going to share my win-loss record at my funeral. Yeah. And so, hey, we're building a legacy for something much, much bigger than that. And so keeping all those things in perspective really, really does help.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, high expectations for next season?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that's a good way to say it. We lost some really good players. Will Pepper, Gabe Meister. We had 4 seniors that really contributed, and we have a really good, talented class. The question that remains, we open up summer ball next Tuesday, is, hey, are the guys going to stay hungry? We won the regional championship and really battled in a sectional game. We're in that game a majority of the game. Will the guys come in hungry? I think that's, and in life, I think that's true too, right? Yeah. Do you wake up hungry or you wake up satisfied? Yeah. And there's a key to contentment. You enjoy what the Lord blesses you with, but now it's time to get back and work. And so we believe that we're set up for the next few years to have some players and teams that will be able to compete consistently.
Good, man. Dude, thanks for taking time.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I appreciate
so
that.
If you're just joining us, my guest has been Jason Persinger. He is the senior pastor of Peoria First. He's also the head boys basketball coach at Peoria Christian School. I'm going to repeat the core 4 that you shared. Right. Effort, attitude, aptitude, and trust. Those are not limited to basketball players, but man, that's life right there, man. That's good stuff. So thanks for taking the time for sharing. Our producer is Mike Sable. You have been watching and listening to 41 Strong. We look forward to seeing you next week.
PeoriaLife.com